topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, New Jersey. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts for the last 16 years in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I have to tell you, we've been doing this show, like I said, 16 years. And I have never really truly endorsed anybody because I don't know, just I felt funny, do it for one and not the other. But I got to tell you, this morning's show with Stephen Fromm, we decided I love the way he does business. I love the way he handles his customer service for his clients when it comes to Medicare. And I made a decision. I cannot believe it's been 16 years that I've never done this. But I have appointed Stephen Fromm as my Medicare agent. He's that good. He has proven himself to me that I want him handling all of my Medicare business. And if you've never gone through Medicare, might not be a big deal to you. You're getting ready to find out. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Steve. How are you doing today?
How about that for an opening?
Listen, I always appreciate everything you have to say about me and the company. It means a lot to us, because that is what we strive for. We strive to be the best and help as many families as possible. And as I always say in every show, make a positive difference in someone's life. And I know we do that. It's been a great day. So,
Stephen, they say people walk the walk, talk the talk. You really do. The way you run your business, he's got these hats, he's got golf shirts, he's got, look, there's one of his hats right there. Calendars, he's got everything. And he really does care about his clients. I don't want this to sound like a commercial for him. We're here to educate, but I have never felt so comfortable because when I first started, as I told you, Stephen, I had the worst agent ever, and it cost me dearly. And listen, there's a lot of people getting ready to go on Medicare. You've heard all kind of stories. I love Medicare. I think it's the greatest thing. It was the greatest investment I ever made. Stephen, tell people about your company.
Sure. Well, I'm the owner of Fromm Insurance Services. We started a few years ago. It's me. My fiance, Judith, is a big part of everything that happens, like the big billboard behind us, all the marketing we do. All of the we started in-person seminars here. I'll mention that again. Have a team of other people that help me grow everything. You have to realize you can't do it yourself. So I have some really good people in my corner that have coached me up, mentors, help us, talk to families the right way, make a positive difference. As we always talk about in this show is umbrella coverage. It's not just enrolling you in Medicare. It's discussing with you all the things, unfortunately, that Medicare does not cover. And to make sure that you're aware of those things and that there are different insurance vehicles that we put in place to help that coverage. And we're finding that so many people are not aware of it. We just started doing here in New Jersey, finally our in-person seminars. We do it at a restaurant called the Stony Brook Grill, which is in North Branch, New Jersey. We did our first one. We weren't sure what to expect. So we only left it at 15 people, and 7 people showed up. It was nice. We did our second one. We had 30 people RSVP, and
Wow.
we had 28 people show up. And yes, 28 people showed up. The feedback was tremendous. A lot of people came up to me, said, wow, this is one of the best Medicare presentations I've ever been to. On the way out, if they didn't talk to me, they spoke to Judith to make sure that they gave Judith their information so they can set up a one-on-one calls with us. And so in New Jersey, that's what we're beginning to do. A lot of one-on-one, a lot of in-person seminars, looking to do it not just here, but other places. We had, like I said, great feedback. A woman lives in a 55 and older development, and she asked me to come speak to the whole community. So,
wow.
Yeah, like you had mentioned previously in Florida, one of those 55 and older, she really doesn't need much help on Medicare. She came for her friends that couldn't get there. But as soon as it was over, she took my information. She runs the residential community. And she says, we're going to book an appointment for you to come talk to all the residents in our community. There's over 250 residents in the community. So,
you deserve it, bro.
I appreciate it. So, yeah, so those are some of the things, there's, as you know, Medicare is so fluent. There's so many changes every day. It's hard to keep up with everything. One of the things that came to light a lot during our seminars, as well as our Medicare one-on-one webinar, is helping people understand Medicare if they're going to continue to work. If they're going to continue to work, there's a lot of questions about, hey, how does that work with my employer? And one of the big things is whether or not your employer has 20 employees, has less than 20 employees, or more than 20 employees. And that's the big difference. If your employer has more than 20 employers, you can stay on your employer coverage. That's very important to know. We make sure we help you get enrolled in Part A, but you can delay Part B. That is the big part. Not everybody understands that they can delay Part B if they're going to work for their employer if they have more than 20 employees. If they have less than 20 employees, they have to enroll in Medicare. So if you have more than 20 employees, for example, and at some point you lose your employment stops or your loss of credible coverage, well, guess what? There's called a special enrollment period of 8 months that allows you to sign up for Part A and Part B. And we help you as we talk now. We're going to help you when that day comes. Also, you have 63 days to enroll in a prescription drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan with drug coverage. And we go over all this because the Part B penalty, if you don't enroll in Part B correctly, there is a 10% lifetime penalty added to the premium for each 12 months. And that is compounded every year. So that number over the years is going to become a very large number. So as you can see, education is so important. And I actually just put this slide in for my last presentation because we got so many questions about it. So that's why I wanted to bring it up today. It's also my Medicare one-on-one webinar, which is on our website.
Hey, Stephen, I got to tell you, you deal in a older demographic like myself. And I got to tell you, I cannot even begin to tell you how many letters I get from my insurance company. And after a while, you just start tossing them. Mm-hmm. And the bad part about it is if you don't have a good agent, that company might not even be available to you the next year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you just assume because you didn't read. I toss a lot, Stephen. I got to tell you, because most. Mm-hmm. So this is why it's so important to have a good agent like Stephen.
Well, I appreciate that. And with you, being on a Medicare Advantage plan, another thing was a great question during our in-person seminar was a woman, she was there for her dad, and her dad's on Medicare Advantage, and he has a chronic condition. He actually has two. He has diabetes and a heart condition. And she was unaware that there are Medicare Advantage plans for someone who has a chronic condition. And those plans may offer different benefits. And she was completely unaware of that. So that was great. Right away, she was like, oh my God, we have to talk. Could this help my dad possibly more? I said, possibly. We have to do our one-on-one to see if it could help your dad even more. So just those little things that, people are not aware of. One of the things that I always stress to everybody, there is no one size fit all Medicare plan. Only you know your healthcare needs. Only you know your budget. So that's why when we do our client needs analysis, we go through all those things, because there is no just one fit plan, So that's so important to understand, what you need and how life is going to change. We want to make sure you're positioned correctly.
We just got a text from Val. She said, I look at a lot of shows on YouTube about Medicare because I'm getting ready to reach that age. I must tell you, you have the best show out there. I love listening how you educate us. Can you tell me, for people that are getting ready to go on Medicare, at what age should we contact you?
Sure. That's a great question. When should you contact me? You should contact me 6 months before you're going to turn 65. We want to talk about it 6 months in advance. We want to do our client needs analysis to understand where you're going to be. Are you going to enroll in Medicare? Are you going to keep your employer coverage? But also, it's important for me to understand what your healthcare needs are, explain the plans, but also talk about your budget. How much is Part A going to cost you? Are you eligible for free Part A? Or maybe you may not be. And that's been a big surprise for many people. Everyone assumes that Part A is free. It is not always free based on the number of quarters that you or your spouse works. Talk about Part B. How much is that going to cost you? Is it going to be $202.90? Or are you going to be impacted by a higher charge because of your income from 2024? So people don't realize that their Part B premium today is because of their income in 24. So that was something that came about in our presentation, talking to everybody and listen, your financial planning today in 2026 is going to impact your premium in 28 for Part B. And people just looked at me like, wow. I'm like, yeah. So those RMDs, selling your house, dividends, whatever it may be, we have to think about how we can possibly not have an IRMA impact and pay more than $202.90 a month. Then you're going to talk about if you're going to go on a Medicare supplemental plan based on your zip code. What is that plan going to be, between 100 or 200? So as you can see, we're building out the financer for someone 6 months in advance, so it doesn't come as a surprise to them when we start the enrollment 3 months before their birthday. Also, during this period of time, I'm going to educate them about enrolling in Social Security. Enrolling in Medicare. Hey, are you receiving Social Security? You're going to be automatically enrolled. Hey, are you not receiving Social Security? These are the things that you have to do. Or you're going to stay with your employer. Okay, get you enrolled in Part A, but delay Part B as long as there's 20 more employees. All these little nuances that honestly people don't know. And that's my job, to educate them. And that's why we start 6 months in advance. So for the person who just called in, definitely want to have that conversation 6 months in advance.
Stephen, I keep hearing about the costs of long-term care, home care, and I got to tell you, I don't think people have any idea how expensive it gets. And they need to sit down with you now and not wait.
That is true. There's, again, I'm going to refer back to my my presentation, because that is one of the things we talk about. Unfortunately, a lot of folks maybe never thought about long-term care, and now they're thinking about long-term care, and now they go to apply, and maybe they're not insurable. They can't qualify, or maybe they can't afford it. The premium's too high. So there are plans out there now called recovery care plans that do offer an insurance product to help pay for skilled nursing, as well as help pay for assisted living. These are newer products out there. And again, me educating, families about these products. They're great products. They in my opinion, have become affordable for families, and then allow them to have these benefits to pay for assisted living, because assisted living is cash. there is no insurance for, unless you have long-term care, you're going to be paying cash. So, one of the things that I always talk about, your retirement assets are for your retirement. We don't want to use your retirement assets for a large healthcare expenditure. So that's why we begin to have all of these conversations 6 months in advance. And people will ask me at the age of 65, why do I want to enroll in that plan now? I say to them, because tomorrow you may not be insurable. So while you're healthy and young, we enroll you now for something that you may not need to use until 20 years from now. But at least you're insurable now. The longer we wait, something may happen and you may not be insurable, or the price becomes cost prohibitive for you. All those little things that we have to talk about with everybody.
People do not realize how much work you have to do. It's just amazing behind the scenes that they don't know that you do. What about these umbrella coverages? Can you talk about that?
Sure. That's another great thing we've been talking about. I appreciate that. So we look at it as three different umbrellas: umbrella 1, 2, and 3. Umbrella 1 is your Medicare, whether it be a Medicare supplemental or Advantage plan, and your prescription drug plan. Then dental insurance. If you have original Medicare, there is no dental insurance for original Medicare. So we're going to talk about dental, vision, and hearing. Now, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, there are dental insurance, but it may be limited. So we're going to talk about maybe adding a different protection. And then we're really going to go into the cancer, heart attack, and stroke, because there are non-medical expenses that will not be covered, travel, lodging, food, loss of wages. And then there are non-Medicare approved expenses, experimental treatments, cost of certain prescriptions. I have a family I'm working with right now. They're paying $2,000 a month for their cancer drug, and it's not included on the formulary. So it doesn't count towards that $2,100 out of pocket. So these little things about educating. So then that's one of the umbrellas. And then adding, recovery care, adding the home care, adding hospital benefits. For example, on your Medicare Advantage plan, there's an out-of-pocket maximum on your plan. A lot of agents don't take the step to educate someone and say, oh, by the way, hey, listen, your plan could possibly have $9,250 out of pocket. My first question to somebody is, how does that impact your budget? And their answer is, it will impact my budget. And I'm like, well, good thing to know, because we have hospital insurance to help protect those costs from you, so you don't incur that out-of-pocket expenditure. And that's a big thing, because think about someone that, I'll just use round numbers, has an out-of-pocket max of $10,000, and they hit it in December. Now something happens to them medically, and they hit it again in January. So within 2 months, they just had $20,000. And if you don't have a hospital insurance, that's out of your pocket. But if we do the education process, we have that hospital insurance, you are protected for a minimal monthly fee each month. Those are the things we really go into detail.
Stephen, how many new clients do you see, and you see who've already are on Medicare? They're coming to you. How many policies do you see you shake your head and go, whoever did this for you did not do you any justice?
Yeah, it's unfortunately that, a lot. There was a lot of people during the in-person seminar that after the seminar said to me, I'm in the wrong plan.
Yes.
And they said, they walked up to me and said, Stephen, I'm in the wrong plan. Based on what you just taught me today, I'm in the wrong plan. So, that is big. And again, client needs analysis. I mean, every day I wake up, I love what I do for a living. I don't even consider it work. I love helping people. You get on the calendar, it's, 10, 12, 14 people a day I got to talk to, which is great. We also help with the claims. I have a family that the claim is messed up, wasn't paid properly. And we're talking about $1 million claim. We're not talking about $10,000. Okay, it wasn't paid properly for his hospital stay. So guess who's going to be on the phone today with the carrier, with the family, getting this resolved? Me, because she called me yesterday crying. I don't know what to do. Well, I said to her, fortunately, I do know what to do. And you're my client for life. So we're going to be on the phone with the insurance company today, going over this $1 million claim. That's, you get a bill in the mail for $1 million. and is not paying properly, you're going to spiral out of control. And the good thing is that we've worked together so long, she knows that we'll get this resolved today. So those little extra things that we want to do for everybody.
There's so many things you do for your clients you can't even put a price tag on. I got to tell you, we are so blessed to have you. I'm so glad you are my agent now.
Appreciate that.
We did something with Stephen that we've never really done before. We have a few clients that have wanted to do a national show, but we basically opened up the entire East Coast to Stephen doing a second show, because me going through this and it was a bad experience. And knowing there's someone out there like Stephen, I just had to say, you know what? I want you to have the entire eastern part of the United States, because the more people who are educated, the better off you're going to be. Stephen, tell people how they can reach you.
Sure. They can call me on my work cell, which is 908-268-2356. They can go to the website, which is www.from.com. On the website, there's a contact form. They can also request a copy of our book on the website now. There's a contact for the book on the website. Because of your show, we are changing our whole website. We're going to have our Medicare 101 webinar right on our website, as well as we're building out a video library. So for all of the things that you and I talk about every show, going to make it easier for families. We're going to have a whole video library talking about all of these things to make it easier and more straightforward for everybody. So,
Stephen,
real quick. Somebody wants to say hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
This is Judith.
I'm Judith.
Judith, thank you so much. You have made this show so much more than it is. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you.
Of course, thank you. It's about taking care of people. We love people. We love helping. That's what it is.
Exactly.
I'm recovering. I'm sorry, I was supposed to be here earlier, but I have I've been dealing with a severe frozen shoulder for
years.
7
years
now. So Monday I went for a procedure. So I'm painful, but I'm supposed to be moving,
You guys are the greatest team. Hey, you got to start joining us more.
Of course, I will.
Appreciate it. Steve, thanks again for everything.
Thanks, buddy. We love you.
Your hat's on the way. Your hat's on the way.
Are you here to be getting it anytime soon?
Take care.
Thank you all.
All right.
That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.